The journalist, who is the news reporter in Manhunt, is seen as an ambitious character who's determined to expose Starkweather and his snuff film ring that he thrives upon within Carson City's corrupt underground. As she approaches closer to her mission, she realizes the stakes are so high that it might risk her life. Still willing to compromise Starkweather's unhinged empire, she successfully does so at the expense of her sanity, since she was left with a psychological scar from the horrors she experienced that will torment her life. From beginning to end, we'll briefly go over what we know about the journalist, mainly her whereabouts and goals throughout the events of the game. So let's start off with what we know. The journalist's goal was to expose Starkweather in the snuff film ring that Cash is the current star in. The journalist seems to have been aware of Cash, his execution, and of course the fact that he still exists since she rescues him post Divided They Fall.
I've seen your face before.
Get off of me! I'm a reporter! I was at your execution!
Keep talking.
I've been following Starkweather's operation for months.
Who's Starkweather?
The guy that's been talking you through this whole circus of death? Look, I've got all I need to expose that sick bastard, but he's definitely on to me now. So I have to get back to my apartment, collect my material, and get out of town before I become another one of Starkweather's extras.
The journalist needed evidence to expose Starkweather and his snuff film ring, but the evidence was locked up in their apartment and guarded by corrupt cops who were doing dirty work for Starkweather.
We're lost.
What? Now you fucking...
Oh, shut up and get some of your boys to take care of it. Don't file the arrest report. Don't kill him either. Send both to me.
Hey, remember who you're talking to, you son.
Listen, you fuck, it's your job to clean up the city's mess. That's what you get paid for.
Shit.
The journalist is then escorted by Cash to her apartment to grab the evidence. This evidence includes where the snuff films are being produced for exposing the operation, a dossier detailing the conspiracy, as well as photographic and video evidence from the snuff film recordings. Press coverage is the first and or last mission where the journalist and Cash see each other before they both go their separate ways after this.
Everything I need is in that box under the table.
Good. Take it and get out of town.
But you're not coming with me?
I'm going to deal with Starkweather personally. Thank him for my second chance. You're my backup if I don't make it. Have a nice life.
The journalist then continues her risky adventure by making her way to Starkweather's mansion, which is what we see in Border Patrol.
Mr. Starkweather refuses to comment on these allegations. At this point, it is unclear as to whether or not he will ever be allowed to direct again.
After Cash kills Starkweather, the journalist exposes Starkweather's snuff film ring via Carson City News, and the evidence found on Starkweather's estate exposes the corruption of the CCPD completely.
Acclaimed movie maker Lionel Starkweather has been found dead today, along with several of his bodyguards, at his estate at the Wapona Hills residential district. In what investigators are calling a bloody vendetta, an unknown assailant infiltrated the compound, killing Starkweather, but more interestingly, leading police to the site of a snuff film ring being run from the estate's confines. Linked to this ring is Carson City's own police chief, Gary Schaefer, whose lawyer stated that he intends to plead not guilty.
Miss Nasty calls out the journalist for exposing the evidence about the snuff film ring, eventually leading to Miss Nasty wanting her dead, posting about it via inbox to his followers on the Valiant Video website, where it states, "I'll gladly pay any of you scumbags a year's salary to off this nosy reporter bitch from Carson City News. Bring me her fucking head, Miss Nasty." Shortly after the events of the snuff film ring being exposed, the journalist was treated to a psychiatric mental hospital. Apparently, the doctor entering her at the mental facility said she was found wandering the streets in tears with a knife in her hand. She was then kept in solitary confinement for her own protection, as well as everyone else's, and believed the doctor was a part of some conspiracy. She mentions how she technically lost everything ever since the fallout. At the facility, she was being gaslit about who was responsible for the snuff film massacre and that Cash was all in her head. Almost like after his quote-unquote death, he became a figment of her imagination. At least that's how the doctor interviewing her made it seem like.
I don't need to make any progress. I'm not ill like that. I just saw a dead man. Yeah, very funny, I know. I saw a dead man and I'm not ill, but you know it's true.
You were found walking the streets a couple weeks after you filed that report. In tears. With a knife. That sounds pretty ill to me.
Yes, I posted the story and then I couldn't sleep. I thought I could deal with things. You know this crap. Does it surprise you? Even I could diagnose what's wrong with me. post-traumatic stress, or whatever the hell you call it. And let's be straight about it, I did experience trauma. Not trauma like my cat died or I'm a fat girl or any of that shit. I saw a man get killed by the state. A guy get killed by the state with a priest and prison guys and in the chair. I was behind the glass. I saw him die. Then I spoke to him. To Cash.
Did you? But no one else saw Cash or spoke to him.
So I'm a liar now. I'm a liar? What about the police? What about the prison system? What about it? What about Starkweather? You know that's true. I had a known killer in my car. A guy I saw killed, and I was speaking to him, threatened by him, and he was dead. Your friends, the government, they killed him. How are you supposed to move on or deal with or express your feelings or any of that crap about that? Huh? How? Tell me and I'll do it. Or let me the hell out of here, you little moron. You've been no help. You make it all a lot worse. You know, he was dead. He was executed. I saw it and he was in my car alive. I'm not a freaking wacko, you prick. You know I'm not. So, why are you making me stay here?
Unfortunately, this is the last we ever heard of the journalist. So what probably happened to her? Maybe she had been killed? I mean, Mr. Nasty did want the journalist dead. He mentions that he will pay a shitload of money to anyone who asks the journalist for not keeping her mouth shut. So when she was eventually discharged from the hospital and a quote-unquote free woman, Mr. Nasty's followers may have gotten to her somehow. I mean, they are internet freaks. They don't really look educated, but you can find anything on the internet. So it's not too far-fetched that if she did wind up leaving the hospital, she was inevitably found and killed. Unless she was found, managed to defend herself because of the events of the game adapted her to become more protective of herself, so she probably owns a gun. Plus, she was watching Cash brutally annihilate the hell out of your local CCPD, so she probably learned a thing or two watching him. But wouldn't Mr. Nasty's followers keep coming back? Maybe she relocated to somewhere so isolated that finding her was much harder than they anticipated. Realistically though, would it be hard to find out where she was located? Of course these are just questions and I have no idea, but it's interesting to think what happened post-hospital interview and where she is now in general. It's pretty likely that the journalist never even left the hospital due to what happened, so they probably think she's just out of her mind and kept her there for who knows how long.
Life isn't like that, I'm afraid. Do you not think you're improving?
Can I go home if I say yes?
Unfortunately, that's not my decision. I can only make recommendations. Dependent upon your response to each session. You understand I merely make objective recommendations based on whether I think you're a risk to yourself or to others, to society.
Society? What the hell is society? What is it? Play by the rules? Let me tell you the rules. The rules are these. I've seen people kill people. Men hack each other to death so some rich asshole can film it. Is that society? Is it?
She did come off crazy when she was being interviewed, but then again, I guess anyone would be if someone keeps denying that you actually saw something with your own eyes. Plus of what she's been through throughout the events of the game, it's like you can't argue with her. I mean, she does mention in the interview that she has PTSD and is suffering from insomnia because of the events throughout the game. Anyone would if they were in her shoes.
Oh yeah, because you're using it to keep me in here? Because we've been over it 1,000 times? Because you know what I think about it. I can't go back to work. I don't sleep anymore. I'm locked up in a madhouse. My career is screwed. I will have nightmares for the rest of my life. I used to think I was a hard reporter, some real tough bitch or something, and now I'm scared of the dark. And I didn't do anything wrong. Not a thing. What did I do wrong to suffer this much?
I guess the best part about her being left in the hospital is that she's safe from Mr. Nasty, who definitely wants to kill. Then you have the possibility that if the hospital did let her leave, they maybe relocated her to a more isolated area where she's maybe safe, while kinda still having her own freedom. Maybe she's constantly watched by detectives and police since they're still trying to figure out who committed all these murders from the snuff film ring. Since apparently Cash was never found, we still don't know what happened to Cash after the events of Manhunt. Either way though, if she's free, she's likely isolated somewhere and on towards new beginnings. Yeah, the internet freaks are maybe looking for her, but they're more likely struggling because the journalist is smart. I'm pretty sure she would know where to isolate and commute to post Manhunt. On the flip side, if she's still in the mental facility, at least she's still alive, but it's probably hell for her over there in the facility as well. The facility seems sketch, so who knows if that facility is really what it makes itself out to be? Who knows if the staff of this facility was maybe manipulating people with mental illnesses and or conditions, and has led to yet another nightmare. I'm probably stretching here, so I'll just stop, but guess you never know within Manhunt's morbid universe.
It's running out. I've got to get the one piece of evidence that will expose Starkweather without a shadow of a doubt. Footage and testimony of a man who was executed by the state 5 hours ago.